That's a good problem to
Hope
have.
you guys can hear me. I'm just awkwardly recording myself. Yeah, audios. Which audio am I coming through? Okay, I'm coming through this audio right now. So, although this audio is usually not that good, maybe now that we've hopefully fixed the other problem, I wait. Hello. Oh, it's because I fucking helps if you don't mute the microphone. How are we looking on to? Oh my god, yes, look at that. Oh, that should be completely fixed. So I'm hoping that I can go over and I mean we are live. I can see my face. Oh, I look like I'm moving. Guys, I'm moving and I'm not a complete robot by the looks of it. Um awesome. So hopefully, yeah, we'll be able to get people to kind of slowly come back in. Actually, do you mind going onto the Discord and just sending out a ping just to let people know it's fixed now?
Yep, an AT.
Yeah. Might as well add the new link since it's the same show. Just look at the show. But yes. Oh, can you close the door, please? Sorry, guys. Tech support came to help me and they left the door open. Okay, still quiet. Hello. I'll try the other one because otherwise, like, this is supposed to be the bed microphone. So hopefully, if I put it right up against my mouth, it's not too bad for you guys. And obviously it'll take a second for those chats to come in for me. So actually, while we're waiting for the chats to come in, I wonder if I opened up my social stream if it would work now. I'm wondering if maybe it didn't work before because turns out, guys, all I had to do was just turn a whole bunch of it's like, you know, when you try to play a video game on too higher settings for your machine. That's essentially what I just did. I essentially just tried to fucking crank it out on absolute max graphics. Yay! Welcome back, Fano. Also, yes, leaving the door open is big sibling energy. I mean, if I wanted to bring the big dad energy, I should have gone, were you born in a tent? But I won't. They helped me, so I don't know why I need to add something in. Hold on 2 seconds, fun. Nah, that one's just fucked actually. I think I have to fix. Stop changing. How dare I click things and they actually work? How fucking rude. But yeah, let's see if we can get our chat going while I'm just waiting for everyone to come back in. See, good thing we had that extra hour, eh? Because definitely chewed through it with the old tech support issues. But hey, at least now that I have an idea of what to do and I know how to fix that problem again, we shouldn't have that in the future. I am thinking about possibly doing another one later on in the week. Just because, why not? Thank you for closing the door. Door got closed, Fano. We're good. We're good. Alright. I will have a nosy at our chat. No ray tracing. Sorry. It was literally just turning down settings and frame rates and putting myself. To be fair, like my computer is pretty old, so I mean this computer actually could not play Diablo 4. Was it Diablo 4? Yes, Diablo 4. Yeah, Diablo 4. Oh well. Whatever the newer one was. Because my computer's just a bit too old and those games are a bit too handy, so we'll just have to, I'm hoping that I'll be able to maybe get a better camera for next year though. So that's in the works, don't worry. Although I might also have to look at actually upgrading this fucking machine, to be honest. Your boy probably needs a better GPU. Path of Exile 2. I thought it was with Diablo as well, though. Either. At least we're coming through. It looks like people are making their way back in. Thankfully, unfortunately, I did have to end the first stream just to OBS wouldn't let me change certain settings without absolutely cutting it off. So hopefully everyone will be able to make their way back over and we'll be able to get back into it. But anyway, might as well. Does not look like my social stream's gonna work, unfortunately. But at least now I can actually do the rest of the fucking show. So that's all we need. Also helps if I open back up my bloody documents again since I closed everything. But hey, we love a good turn it off and on again, don't we? Also, thank you, Avery, for resharing the link. And Kiwi Skirt, I see you in that Discord. Absolute legend. Let's everyone just shout out to Kiwi Skirt for just existing, because absolute ledge. Well, I mean, we had the... Honestly, I'm not going back through the fucking Jevon stuff. He can go suck it. But really, all I really wanted to say is I'm not loving... Oh, actually, no, there was one last story in relation to that, I guess, that we didn't actually touch on, which I guess I'll allow it. We'll allow it this time. No, we need to give you guys the ability to see. Oh, now, okay, see, it's also somehow fixed the Chrome issue. So that's cool. Love that for me. But yeah, this was one that I just kind of saw earlier today. Christchurch chef keeps job despite sexually harassing young female employees, which I thought just really speaks to this issue that we seem to be having in terms of people not being able to just keep their damn hands and minds to themselves, like just let people live. But anyway, we had a judge say the employer of a chef found guilty of sexually harassing young female workers needs a wake-up call as the offender continues to be employed at the restaurant. Samir Thapa was sentenced in Christchurch District Court on Tuesday to 4 months home detention after a jury found him guilty of 7 counts of indecently insulting 4 girls aged between 15 and 18 between 2021 and 2024. The teenagers worked as servers at Laziz Mediterranean Grill and assisted with food preparation. For many of them, it was their first job. They would come along to work excited by this new step in their lives and happy, the judge said. Instead, in all instances, they were left with an impact on their self-confidence and not enjoy their work as they hoped to, approaching each workday with trepidation. Thapa would make flirtatious and improper comments towards the teenagers, such as calling them hot, sexy, and baby. Ugh. He told 2 of the girls he wanted to get drunk with them and would buy them alcohol, despite them being underage. He asked one teen whether she would be his Maori wife and another to send him hot pics. He also asked whether one of the girls had had sex with her boyfriend. Yeah, because that's fucking a normal question to ask people. The harassment was also physical, with the teenagers saying he would touch them on their backs, thighs, and buttocks. While Judge Orchard noted the touching was brief, she said on 1 or 2 occasions his hand would linger. During sentencing, Judge Orchard said Thapa was not a good candidate for rehabilitation because he did not accept that he had done anything wrong. He needs to come to the terms with the fact that this behaviour does amount to sexual harassment. Not just touching, but obviously the way he speaks to young female employees at all is totally unacceptable. He needs to adjust his behaviour because if he doesn't, he will end up taking the consequences. She said his employer, who continued to employ him, needed a wake-up call. She said the employer had provided a testimonial to the court. Judge Orchard said Thapa's name and restaurant he works at should be published to protect any potential future workers. Youngsters need to know if the places they are choosing to work have somebody working there who has offended in this way against young employees. The Crown sought a point of 18 months imprisonment. However, Judge Orchard adopted a starting point of 12 months. She gave a significant deduction due to Thapa offering to give emotional harm payments of $1,000 to each victim, which must be paid to the victims by the end of the day. I mean, at least I was gonna say $1,000. Okay, but hey, I mean, at least it would be instant. I guess. Judge Orchard settled on 4 months of community detention with a curfew from 10 p.m. till 8 a.m. each day due to his work. Oh my god, that's. I am hopeful this experience will have brought home to you that you need to conduct yourself appropriately in the workplace towards young women. DARPA would not be added to the sex offenders register. Which, yeah, that's a whole bunch of cooked, if you ask me. I guess no pun, given he's a chef, but just there's so many instances where people are just having their autonomy violated, and the repercussions are not high enough. Like, it's absolutely disgusting. And I think it just kind of, when you pair these with the other things that are kind of happening, it does seem to be part of the problem overall, where we just kind of, I think too many people, especially New Zealanders, I feel like have a really bad habit of trying to give someone the benefit of the doubt, where the benefit of the doubt is kind of not important. Like, I'm sorry, but I don't give a shit about whether the guy who did that's gonna face any negative repercussions from his actions, because, ooh, don't talk to people like that. And I mean, I know like so many instances, especially when I was younger, where like this kind of behavior was just like, oh, it's not it's harmless, don't worry about it, which is extremely dismissive. And I do agree. I think the fact that he's not being added to a list, I mean, sex offenders, it's right there in the name. Like, it doesn't say you have to, do specific sexual offending. It should just be all sexual offending. Um, but I mean, I am glad though, at least that the judge has been like, no, this workplace and um this guy's name, they deserve to be out there, and they do. And I hope that, actually, I might have to tell Ems about this one so she can, since she's from Christchurch, she can tell all of her community not to go to Lizzie's Mediterranean Grill, especially since they're still keeping this guy employed. But it's just fucking disgusting. I mean, I'm sure we all agree this is just not surprising, but still fucked. And I think that kind of goes back to what the article from about the sex workers and their experience. I think that's kind of just goes to show you that, like, this isn't just a problem for police. This isn't just a problem for MPs. This isn't just this problem exists everywhere in our society, and not enough is done to really call it out. Like, we need to be able to have ways to be able to, like, tell people we know, like, hey, even if you're not a sexual offender, the way you're behaving right now is fucking creepy and gross, and you should stop it. Like, simple as that. It shouldn't be a big matter of contention. So I'm realizing I might just try to open this document into a different window so that I don't have to keep showing you guys my messy my messy planning document. Or unless you guys do like the document, then sure. But oh wait, I'm looking at permissions over there. Fuck it, we ball. For now, I'll deal with it. So I guess, you know what? Let's go into the Tākuta stuff, because this is what I really wanted to spend a bit of my time on. So I'm sure a lot of you have at least seen that this interview with Tākuta has come out 7 hours ago. Good old Mata with Mahinarangi Forbes. And I just realized, which mic am I using? Am I using it? No, yeah, I'm using this one. I think, is it all? Oh, I don't even know which one thing, what's going on with my life right now. No, I'm using that. Cool. All right. So Yeah, so this part here is just Tākuta talking a little bit to kind of all of this interview is full of basically the entire timeline and history of what's gone down between uh I guess you could say the executive council of Te Pāti Māori, really, and the rest of Te Pāti Māori, since it really does seem to be an unfortunate thing of, yeah, it kind of just has been throughout the whole process just a fucking mess. And I mean, I'm pretty sure I've mentioned it here before where I was always on Edu's side because it was just easy to tell that like he clearly felt like this was the last resort of like my ability to try and sort this internally has not been going anywhere. So what else can I do but say something publicly? And I think that's a really important part that I hope a lot of people pick up on is that Eru, Maria Menor, and all of these people, they were trying to do what was right, and instead they were painted as troublemakers and liars. And I'm just really glad to see that he's come out on Mata and just he's putting it all out there. I keep forgetting you guys can see my fucking screen. Um, there we are. There we are. Anyway, let's hear from Tākuta.
Determined wahine in that space. She will defend the reo, the tikanga, and all of that stuff pretty much to the death.
Also, yeah, sorry for a little bit of context. This is him talking about essentially where Ordini's been put in the middle. Hopefully, this is loud enough too. Let me know if this isn't.
But what transpired for her on a day that should have been a great day was, there was the reset hui. Now, that reset hui was staged on her day, in her hui, with her whole whānau sitting there, probably wondering, what the hell is this? I remember Rauri and Debbie there speaking, me, Hana and Menoa here, thinking, oh, what's this? And Oreni was standing over there, just sort of out on the side. And so we sat there and listened to the reset speech, and then they closed that hui, ki te karakia, and all left. And Oreni is still standing over there. And her whānau would later say to her, what the hell was that? So, aroha nui au ki takutua hine ki a Oreni. Me tana.
Which, like, just that alone. Also, I realized I'll put it in this mode because it seemed to be a bit janky there for a second. But yeah, I mean, already, just the way that they've just gone and, like, that should be really unacceptable. What a messy way to try and deal with things going on. Like, sure, it's, I guess, not good timing, but there are ways to handle it, and it feels like at every single point, the leaders of Te Pāti Māori have failed. Really, I mean, it's kind of the more simple way to put it. Oh, actually, that wasn't. I mean, this is where they just talk about some of the issues. Obviously, with Tākuta having his own
there have
issues
been faults on
this,
both
which,
sides.
I will say, I have issues with Tākuta from the initial issue way back before all of this Raru about his dumb fucking Instagram post about Māori and non-Māori and all that. I do not personally think that the way that those two things have, like, all these things have been kind of smashed into one category, I personally feel is pretty flawed, because to me, what Tākuta did with that is entirely separate to what has happened since Edu came out. And that's the other part too, is like everyone just keeps focusing on Maria and Tākuta and Debbie and JT and all that, ignoring the fact that, like, Edu tried to warn everyone and be like, hey, things aren't exactly what you think they are. Don't be surprised if people you look up to aren't what you thought they were. And so, yeah, that part was thing, but then we're gonna go into this is actually a really really interesting part, and I am, as you can probably see here, we're gonna listen to a couple of minutes. Oh fuck, lol, fuck up my own document. Um, we'll listen to it for a couple minutes. I'll break it up in between, but this is when she's talking about basically Debbie talking about JT being the only one to basically keep going with TPM.
Te Ngāre Wapeka says that he's the man, JT's the man to take Aotearoa to Hawaii ki hou. How whakaro ki tērā?
Oh, yeah, I get what Debbie says. She said that a number of times. And for me, I don't need JT. I'm clever enough to work out anything. So if Debbie needs JT, can't do it without him, well, then
like,
that's her setup.
Such a great
You know, but I don't
I'm
believe
good.
that young Māori of my generation
fully tell me what to do. Which I think is very fair criticism, but I really love what he goes into next.
actually need someone to come and do that for us. And if you were to ask me, because the drive of Te Pāti Māori is to capture the rangatahi. You know, our 700,000 of our 1 million people who are under 40, you know, 500,000 of them are under 25. We have to appeal to that group, and we have to capture that group's attention and teach them how to participate
I'm just gonna
fully.
also pause here and
Now,
I really, really, really agree with what he's saying. I mean, you guys have heard me keep going harp on about how I really want to target, you know, non-voting young people. Like it's such a big group, and not only is it such a big group that is important, is that that's the group that really needs to, like he says, be kind of helped and shown some of the kind of ropes so that they can be the ones to take on it, because essentially a lot of this, you know, work that they're trying to do is for the rangatahi right now. We can't be changing stuff in like 5, 10, 15 years to help them. It has to be now. And I just thought, like, that to me shows that his perspective is focused on the rangatahi, on the future, not just, oh, well, I've got all of this years of experience, and so I know everything so much better than everyone else, which I think is more some of the vibes I feel like we get from JT, especially. But yeah, I'll let him keep going because there's still more.
now, if you would ask me, is JT the right guy to lead that? No, not the right guy. Okay, the right guy looks and sounds like an Eru Kapakingi who can capture that cohort of our people and move them through how to participate well, show up, represent yourself well. And we know that if we capture them young enough and get them into this behaviour early, voting, thinking about it, participate. So in that regard, no, I don't think JT is the guy for this job. I think there's a very smart cohort of young Māori out
Which,
there
I mean,
who are tested. You know, they're in the midst of their careers, they know how to do it.
I mean,
we have
I
skill,
think it's
and
why
that's
a
what it
lot
needs.
of
Why do you think the party?
young people, I guess myself included, if I'm calling myself young people, I think that's why for me, Eru is someone that I feel like I can also trust, because he's dedicated to the kaupapa, he's dedicated to the cause, and him calling out like the leadership within Te Pāti Māori is a part of that, is that you should be able to criticize your own side and go, hey, like, I love you guys, but we're not doing good enough. This is not good enough. This could be better. And I think all of their responses thus far have really showed me that they're not emotionally mature enough to, I guess, have a genuine conversation and mediation as well on top of that. I mean, we've seen the way that they've just, first of all, not gone to the hui that was just on the weekend, but also just even the way that they dropped the whole Sunday night email trying to oust Maria Mino and then Tākuta as well. Like, I'm sure we've all seen the headlines about the fact that Maria Mino was actually under budget. She did not overspend on her parliamentary budget, as she told us. And all of that was something that, again, that had been dealt with. But everything from TPM shows that because of the fact that Eru came out and called them out, they targeted her. And actually, I believe there is... Yeah, actually, we'll jump to this timestamp here because I think this is probably going to be a more logical continuation of kind of where I've jumped to in this conversation. And this is him actually talking about essentially what happened and what kind of blew everything up, because I figured that there must have been, he talks about the fact that there had been discussions going on and all of this. Actually, no, you know what? Just to be messier, let's go to this one next, because I think this adds a bit of context for us in terms of how Orini's been treated by the leadership. Obviously, her being a very, very new MP to Te Pāti Māori. So we'll just let Tākuta take it from here.
This is one of the ugly pieces of this whole story here, mihi. Orini was guaranteed by the leadership of Te Pāti Māori that if she won, she could bring with her her team to serve as an exec, as a support for her in Tāmaki. Okay, like we've all been in meetings where they've agreed to that it's going to happen, and we've been caught in this tussle where Orini's trying to get herself established and, operating effectively, and she's literally being controlled, and they just continue to sideline her. In my view, they're bullying her. In my view, they're standing over her, and she's under immense pressure, immense duress, to the point where I believe it's dangerous, and I'm 100% happy to call this out, because this is bullying, this is standover tactics, this is Orini trying to do her best for her Tāmaki people to stand it up and do it with the supports, and she's just been flicked, she's been knocked off the side. They've said things to her like, oh, you don't deserve it, and oh, you're entitled, and you're this and you're that. They're actually beginning to undermine her credibility as an MP. And so, I'm fine to come here and say this to you, because I'll be fine to say to JT and all of them, it's not good enough. They're doing that just to retain the voting power of Tāmaki, and, it's beyond below the belt.
So again,
which again, kind of disgusting to see that, like, poor Rini, she's just come into Parliament, and God, I can only imagine what she must be kind of thinking internally at times of just like, what the fuck have I entered? There's just like, and it's almost actually, I feel like it probably is almost for her, like, it'd be a little bit like the community meme when Troy walks in with the pizza and everything's on fire. I feel like that's probably a little bit what poor Rini must feel like, because I mean, from the fact that they turned her maiden speech day into reset, let's deal with raru by pretending it doesn't exist strategy that they, for some fucking reason, thought was a good idea. And just absolutely, it's just such a mess. And I feel really bad because it seems like the MPs within TPM are being kind of just put into a really shitty space where they either have to be tutaru and true to what they know and believe in and be honest and essentially, I guess, be a whistleblower, or they have to try and work within a toxic group that wants to hide, their dirty laundry. I've heard a few people go, oh, you guys should be doing this on the marae or behind closed doors or blah, blah, blah. This shouldn't be public. I actually disagree. I do think that I think these things should be public, because a lot of people who were voting and supporting Te Pāti Māori based off of what they believed the party was doing and who they believed the party to be is very clearly not the person or the party that they kind of thought they were. And I think they have the right to know that and to be able to go, I don't like what's happening here, and I want to see something change. We'll jump now though to we'll just go in order. We'll go in order. Why not? Let's try to be ordered. And so this is just going into a little bit about kind of the almost, I guess, laziness that seems to, laziness, privilege. I'm not sure what word to use, but talking about the leadership. Which that alone, I feel like, would probably shock some people. I feel like they probably thought, oh, yeah, no, surely they're having heaps of meetings. Nope. We're at what, the 11th month? And they haven't had any meetings?
Shows up, doesn't show up. Down. And that's largely on the back of the co-leadership. Okay, a whimsical leadership shows he's getting no support, and this all sort of leads us to the time where Raori and Debbie are suspended. So we're doing the 21 days in the house.
This is the haka.
Yeah, suspended for the haka, right? And so it ends up just us
Which
in the house.
this part was actually
and we're just doing all the housework. Now, Raori
I
and Debbie
didn't
didn't have to
realise
not be at
this,
the house.
nor
They were
have
only
I really
suspended from the
seen.
chamber. So they could have still come
I
to the house and done
personally
the work. They
haven't
opted to
seen
stay
even
up.
point that
Yeah.
out, and I was kind of like, oh, huh, true. That's actually a really good point. Why wouldn't they have?
I don't know why
I mean,
you do
other
that
than to,
as a
I
leader.
guess,
But
maybe
anyway, that's what
prove a
happened.
point and be like,
And
no,
in that
you pick me up,
time,
I'm
where
not
it was
gonna
just us four
like,
in there,
seem a little,
we began working in a manner that was easy. It was easy, it was efficient, it got stuff done. And across those couple of weeks, we had a few hui. And at that last week, we four had agreed that an intervention was required. And we worked out how to do it after they came back. Now, the tragic thing was that Tākuta died that week. And then what happened during that taniana is some of the most despicable stuff I've encountered. And if anyone wants to challenge me on it, I'm good to go.
What happened?
Poor behaviour. Poor behaviour. I'll tell you this much, because why Laurie is happy, has shared it openly with me and others. Her, Whanari, Tākuta's mum, and Matu Karaka, her father, were driving to Auckland to pick their girl up and take her home. They heard on the radio that the girl was going to Hawaii Waititi.
which, I mean, that's despicable. For her own parents to be expecting to come and take her home and be told on the radio that's not the case.
And then the rest of that story is a debacle of immense proportion. And I'm happy for the whānau to talk about it, and I know there's sensitivities around it and all that, but in my time dealing with tangi, and I had to deal with our Uncle Peter's tangi, probably the biggest tangi Ngāti Kourou's ever had to deal with. I've never come across anything like that.
Who made that decision?
These are all largely decisions of the executive group. And whilst in the moment they may have been made with a little bit of good intention, how the story unfolded in the fullness of time, it's inexcusable in my view.
What was the outcome?
Well, the outcome is their whānau had been left with a huge bill. Their whānau had been left, things happening with their daughter that they're not even included in. All they wanted to do was go and pick their girl up and drive her straight back to Mokai Pātea. That was as grand as the event would have been, right? Just how they wanted it. But unfortunately, that's not what transpired. And
Why have they got a bill? Where's the bill from?
the bill is from, the grandeur, I suppose, of a taniana. That wasn't the whānau's desire. Okay? There's things that went on in Tāmaki that the whānau, that wasn't the whānau's desire. As I've said, the whānau just wanted to pick her up and take her home. And all the other stuff that occurred, okay, that was all large. It may have had some agreement or some discussion in the heat of the moment, but in their heart of hearts, that's not what they wanted to do. And so that's all very touchy ground, and I don't want to get into saying too much, more than what the
But yeah, I mean, that alone is pretty fucked, to be honest, and I guess it just adds to my, just, what the hell, guys? Like, this seems to be an internal problem. And, it's back again. I'm weird, because it's not showing any issues on my end. That one's strange. Oh, I know what it is. I think I know what happened. Let me know if this is better. Hopefully it is, because if it's not, I don't fucking know. Hopefully, Avery, DM me on Discord if it's better. Cause, okay, now I'm getting a little bit of issue here now. You know what? We don't even, what if I Let's chuck this all the way down, eh? Let's see if we can get it. Do you reckon would 480 make it better? Maybe? Who knows? But I do see that we've got a bit of a frame rate issue coming in again, which is strange because there shouldn't be any reason for it. I'm just gonna look at chat. Immediately better, stream still weirdly delayed. Huh. Okay. I am not 100% sure, sorry, Fano. Anyway, we'll try to get through this, because it's... I think that was the last of the video, to be fair, on this story. So that should be all good for that part. I don't know why we're having issues again, though. It's slightly annoying. Anyway, hopefully the rest will go smoothly. But yeah, let's have a look at some of these other smaller ones first anyway. So I've got a few ones that we can look through. Obviously Andrew Little is our mayor now, and I don't know about some of you other Valley folk. I'm not loving it so far. I am definitely not super happy. Okay, so video delayed. I don't know what it's doing. Hopefully it's good enough for things to continue on, but if not, I'll just have to try again later in the week. Anyway, where we're at. Andrew Little. Now, this is an article that I was sent today, talking about Andrew Little buddies up to the right. After winning the Wellington mayoralty by record-breaking margins, Andrew Little has a huge public mandate and a strong left-leaning majority at the council table, with Labour and the Greens holding 10 out of 16 seats. But in the first meeting of the new council term on Thursday, it became clear that those two parties don't see eye to eye. The drama began with the appointment of the council's committee chairs, roles that bring more status, power, and a bump in pay. Little rewarded the Conservative councillors who ran a self-described campaign of disruption throughout his predecessor Tory whānau's mayoralty by giving them control of 4 of the most powerful committees. There are 10 council committees in total, though only 8 are explicitly political. The right-leaning councillors control half of them. Rebecca Matthews, who had chaired the Budget Committee under Andy Foster and Tory whānau, was demoted in favour of Diane Calvert, possibly a punishment for Matthews' waka jumping from Labour's to Green. Most controversially, Little made Ray Chung the chair of a council-controlled organisations committee, which is responsible for some of the council's most significant investments in public service. That's Ray Chung, who repeatedly spread explicit rumours and who ran the most expensive mayoralty campaign in Wellington's history. I didn't know it was the most expensive in history. And was rejected by voters so resoundingly that he only barely clung on to his council seat, sadly. Ray Chung, who has repeatedly struggled with the basic procedures of local government meetings, Andrew Little thought that guy deserved a promotion. Almost immediately, Chung showed why Little was foolish to trust him by providing audio of councillors at a private media training session to Wellington Live owner Graham Bloxham. Chung claimed he had left a call open by mistake. Yeah, absolutely by mistake. And also, fuck Graham Bloxham. Legal academic Sandra Mudgway spoke to councillors during the public submission section of the meeting, urging them to vote against appointing a councillor who is engaged in gendered disinformation to a senior leadership role within this council, which I totally fucking agree with. Like, we can't be rewarding this type of behaviour at all. The 4 Green councillors were clearly upset about Chung's new role. Good leadership requires sound judgment, empathy, and the ability to recognise when you've got it wrong. Undermining the mana and integrity of your colleagues by spreading offensive and misogynistic rumours is not good leadership, Johnny Osborne said. However, they agreed to vote Little's nomination through in the interests of being constructive partners, because the Greens always have to fucking take the high road and be the big kids in the room and just fucking allow this shit, because otherwise everyone will throw the bloody toys out the cot and it'll be just disruptive lefties. With the committee chairs sorted, the council turned to the big issue of the day, the Golden Mile upgrade. The long overdue and much debated plan to improve access for buses, pedestrians and cyclists on Courtney Place, Madden Street and Lambton Quay. The project was approved for funding in 2021, but the council still hasn't signed a contract for the main works. The only part to be completed is the intersection on the corner of Cambridge Terrace, which is now the nicest bit of the street in Wellington, which is so fucking true. Like, honestly, I think I saw another article, I think it was Lyric did an article talking about the whole, I think it's 25 meters of the Golden Mile that's been done so far. And as someone who's been down that part, it's really nice. And it would have looked so good if the rest of fucking Courtney Place had have essentially been allowed to be fucking improved. I'm just so frustrated. Andrew Little promised to review the early in his campaign. Andrew Little promised to review the Golden Mile after reported cost blowout. That sounds like some national shit, doesn't it, guys? An estimate from a contractor for works on the Courtney Place section came in at 15 to 25 million over the council's budget and identified some further areas of risk. Total cost of the Golden Mile was budgeted at 139 million, made up of 71 million from Waka Kotahi and 69 million, nice, from Wellington City Council. Any increase in costs will be borne by the council. The NZTA funding was approved under the previous Labour government, but after the election, Transport Minister Simeon Brown stopped funding for walking and cycling projects. The Transport Agency has committed to upholding its funding agreement for the Golden Mile, but if there's any significant design change, it would have to be reassessed. The discussion began with council officers briefing councillors on the information and answering questions. Went back too far. Council officers are technically neutral public servants, but you can usually read between the lines to get a sense of what they want the council to do. In this case, officers recommended Labour's preferred long review, but some of their language hinted that they might want to kill the project entirely. We're not recommending termination just at this point. We think you'll need a bit more information before that. Next minute, he pauses it to get all these stupid extra reports. The officers presented the councillors with 4 options ranging from a short cost benefits analysis, estimated to cost 50,000 to 100,000, and take 1 to 2 months, to a full business case review, which would cost as much as 3 million and take 6+ months. So that sounds like a really good spending of 3 mil. What's that? I have advised a number of councils to explore a review of the Golden Mile. Did it work for those councils? No, it never does, but it might work for us. Green Councillor Geordie Rogers asked officers about the project's benefit to cost ratio of 5.8. The higher the number, the better. By comparison, the government's $3.8 billion plan for the second Mount Vic Tunnel and State Highway 1 has a BCR of 1.0. The officers said they needed to do a review because the BCR might have changed. Then that number could drop to 4, that number could drop to 1. We can't really predict where it's going to end up. Andrew Little and Labour councillors wanted option 3, a 3 to 6 month review. They took the line that they support the Golden Mile in principle, but wouldn't commit to building anything. The Greens were sick of the ongoing delays and wanted the council to get on with it. I'm disappointed in the performance of this organisation to enact our decisions in a timely way. Geordie Rogers, that was Rebecca Matthews, Geordie Rogers took direct aim at Little and Labour. I don't think it's good enough to say we support the Golden Mile in principle, because principles are only words. If we want to deliver for communities, it requires the courage to actually get on and deliver things. Little added an aside as Rogers concluded his speech, you might want to reflect on why, if it was possible to deliver earlier, a contract hasn't been signed before now. Ugh. The two iwi representatives who did not have voting rights in this meeting were impatient for construction to begin. Holden Hohaia from Taranaki Whānui said he wanted to see Courtney Place spruced up because it was the historic site of Te Aropa. Liz Kelly, Ngāti Toa Rangatira, backed him up. If there was going to be a review, both wanted the short and sharp option one to minimise delays. The 6 conservative independents have always hated the Golden Mile. They would prefer to scrap it entirely, but their bloc has never had enough votes. Instead, they've pursued a strategy of predatory delay, repeatedly pushing for more reviews, public consultations, and design changes to stop construction from beginning. Their strategy has worked. After 4 years of inaction, it was inevitable that costs would increase. While they failed to get a Conservative mayor elected, they instead found themselves with a Labour mayor who played right into their hands. Independent councillor Tony Randall, who claimed to have been a champion of public transport in Wellington over 20 years, opposed the Golden Mile because there was no specific need for it, and unsuccessfully tried to tack an amendment to stop work on the Harbour Quays bus lane. He incorrectly claimed that modelling showed that the Golden Mile project would lead to fewer people visiting the city centre, which there was this whole fucking campaign by a lot of businesses. Actually, it was probably Tiefenbacher and his lot, where they were trying to basically get all the businesses to say no to the Golden Mile. Also, I thought I should just check into the chat, see what you guys are up to. Also, yes, if they start building that fucking tunnel, like, that tunnel is just like a whole other problem. Like, yeah, because what we really need is more cars flowing through our roads. If Labour and TPM continue the way they're going next year and don't get their shit together, we're cooked. To be honest, TPM have a lot to work on if they want to be in this Labour Green coalition. Although Hipkins annoys the shit out of me. Although, to be fair, Andrew Little is probably the one that's really concerning me the most. Just ban cars from the Golden Mile. I mean, that is an option. I mean, I personally don't know about a full ban. But, I mean, I think that we could definitely have, spots like we have Cuba Street where we could have, like, parts where we can have non-pedestrian, non-car areas just for pedestrians. I mean, to be fair, you probably could actually do no cars off the whole block of Cuba, because then that way when you go to Cuba Duper, it's just like Cuba Duper, Except you can always walk through those areas. How does planting trees along the Golden Mile cost so much? No fucking clue on that one. White men Labour leaders are too comfortable with their privileges and don't want things to significantly change for the better. That's why it's only been Helen and Jacinda actually changing anything. Yeah, I mean, I would be inclined to agree. It does seem like, though if I think about it from a strategical point, why would they want to fucking secede any of the privilege they have? Why wouldn't they want to maintain the status quo? Because it's good for them. They benefit from all of this stuff. And yeah, so then we got just the end here. The key takeaway from this meeting is that Andrew Little is positioning him. Oh, because there was a bit. Andrew Little is positioning himself closer to the Conservative independents than the Greens. And this is the part that I am not happy about. Like, I was already kind of anti-Andrew Little, and I was trying to give him a chance. Really was trying. The Ray Chung thing, like, that was the first, I was trying to give you hope, but I'm not sure about that. But then the fucking pausing the Golden Mile to do the review, that's where I went, oh, cool, go fuck yourself. Throughout the mayoral campaign, Andrew Little intentionally distanced himself from the Greens and Tory whānau, hoping voters would blame their frustration on the departing mayor. Internal party briefings read, Labour candidates should not allow themselves to be positioned as defenders of failing council. Based on what we've seen so far, that wasn't just a campaign strategy, it's how Little intends to govern. And I just really want to shout out Joel McManus, the writer of this article on the spin-off, because sums it up pretty well. It's not looking good, and it's definitely something of concern that I think I think we should definitely keep an eye out. Oh my god, that's such a good point. We could have 2 great ferries for the cost of the tunnel. You know what? I'm adding that. Avery, can you add that one to the list? Just send it into AT somewhere. That's a really great point though. Man. The amount of ferries we could have for a lot of the wasted money going on. I mean, hell, surely if that's the case, they could have helped pay for the fucking waterfront upgrades, if that's the case. Oh, and this was actually one that was sent to me as maybe something that's a little bit positive. From Gorse to Growth, Māori Trust celebrates land restoration success. Te Oma Pera Taraire e and Rangihamama X3A Ahu Whenua Trust, random thing, is reporting strong progress as restored land returns to productive use after more than a decade of development. With support from Te Tumu Pairoa and the Office of the Māori Trust League, large areas of the whenua have been brought back into pastoral farming, horticulture, forestry and conservation. Contract milker and land descendant Clinton Mokaraka says the transformation has been significant. The biggest change that we've seen here, obviously, is production. But bringing land back to production from gorse and weeds, converting it back into the land that we can actually produce off, has been a big difference. It's got a partnership structure. The trusts work alongside Te Tumu Pairoa to ensure the land remains protected in the event of financial difficulty. Together, they created a strategy establishing a limited partnership to lease the land, with both parties holding a 50-50 share. The Rangihamama blocks cover 573 hectares, located 3 kilometres south of Kaikohe, while the Omapera block spans 1,418 hectares, 3 kilometres north of the town. The trust contributed the land to the partnership, and Te Tumu Pairoa invested in developing the dairy unit, including cattle and Fonterra shares. Because, you know, he always got to play that white man game too. But, I mean, it's nice to see that, you know, the land isn't getting completely ravaged in every spot. I know old Shane is probably going to really change that, but it's good to see something small positive. Replace Wellington Shifty Council with a spin-off style. Honestly, that's also a good idea. Fuck, you're full of good ideas tonight, Jeff. Maybe we need you. Actually, maybe we need you on council, mate. Like, who knows? Maybe next local council you can go steal bloody Ray Chung's seat. You sound like you'd probably be better off in that seat than we are with bloody old Ray Chungus over there. But let's keep going. Let's keep going, because actually, I think I'm gonna. Now I've got some videos I wanted us to watch, and I'm hoping it's gonna work. But there's also a really good chance it's not. So I might just have to go through the Substack article. Yeah, I think that's what we'll probably have to do. And then, yeah, let's do it that way. So we'll just quickly run through these other ones that I've got here for us. We all know Craig's going. Probably don't need to talk about that one. Although I did just want to show you guys this. I got one funny one. More just of a, let's see what old Damien Grant's up to. Just because I saw his name show up the other day and I went, that's right, you exist. Yes. Just an important thing to note that Israel violated the Gaza ceasefire 497 times in 44 days. So fuck Israel and free Palestine. Just a quick little update for us there. Apparently Damien Grant is just sitting here talking about people in Ponsonby who are dining out on unpaid tax money, which, like, good to see. This is what Damien's doing with his time now, you know, just talking about rich people eating. Oh my god, is he trying to humble brag? Do you remember SPQR, not the Senate and Pope of Rome, the flashy restaurant that was the flamboyant heart of Ponsonby Road for 3 decades? I'm more of a Columbus coffee or burger fuel, depending on the time of day. Like, what a weird way to try and humble brag, Damien. Anyway, I don't really give a shit about reading this article because fuck Damien Grant, but I just thought it'd be funny to say, what's he up to? Now, I don't know if there's been an update to this one yet, but there was concern as the end of regional councils tipped in local government reforms. So the government is set to announce local government reforms that could spell the death of regional councils. Multiple well-placed sources have confirmed reforms being announced on Tuesday will mean the dissolving of regional councils. It is understood the first steps could be within this current 3-year council term, with talk of a panel of regional mayors taking over the running of regional councils. This would be the first step towards removing the councils altogether. Sources have expressed concern about what would become of the environmental protection aspect of regional councils. On Sunday, Prime Minister Chris Luxon talked of a very serious shake-up coming for local government. Green local government spokesperson Celia Way-Brown, a former Wellington mayor, understood the coming announcement would include the end of regional councils as we know them. This is the opposite of localism, shows the coalition's lack of respect for any form of local government, and demonstrates that this government has almost zero interest in environmental protections nor public transport, which are two fundamental aspects of regional council mahi. In addition to environmental protections and public transport, regional councils sometimes also own ports. Centreport in Wellington is mostly owned by the Greater Wellington Regional Council, with the remainder owned by Horizons Regional Council. Te Pāti Marikaulira Aotearoa said the council reforms mixed with new fast-track legislation could weaken environmental oversight, erase local input, and remove Māori from crucial decisions. This is not just tinkering with local government. This could rewrite who has power over our water, our whenua, our climate resilience, and our future. If these reforms go ahead, councils may lose their authority at the exact moment ministers acquire unprecedented fast-track powers. And I do think that is a very important line there too, is that this on top of fast track, fucking hell. Am I glitching again? Is it going weird? Hopefully. Emphysema. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Jeff. I mean, to be fair, there's always the argument too that, like, maybe council isn't accessible to a lot of people. Okay, it is going weird again. Interesting. It's strange how it just decides to do this when it wants to. What I might do is I might whip out the old task manager at this fucking point, guys. Don't, just hold please, whānau, while I task manage my life. Whew, okay, yep. GPU is getting a bit angry, that's why. Jesus, it's really throttling it. Let me look. Can I do anything? Nope, not that one. Ooh, no, can't do anything on that one. Don't mind me just playing my own pause music. I'll try that. I don't know if it'll help. Hopefully. Strange. Oh well, hopefully it's gonna chill out. Actually, I'm just gonna put this down for a second. Strange, I haven't done anything. Why must you do this to me? Maybe it didn't like that I talked about Damien Grant, which, you know what, that's so fair. Does not look like there's much I can do. Because I haven't changed anything. Right, I know, right? Okay, dropping it, cool. I tried to do that a little bit, but I didn't know if dropping it was the right direction to go. Let's try. Let's go. Let's see if that helps. Fingers crossed. Don't know how low I'm supposed to drop it, but drop it low. Maybe we should see. Oh my god. You know what? Hopefully you can hear this and it's not glitching too much. Maybe we should get PB Tech to sponsor BHN. And then that way we can get computer stuff. And maybe they'll give us a coupon code, you know what I'm saying? Well, hopefully you know what I'm saying. I don't know, I'm probably lagging too much. I put it way down now. I even checked it further low just to see if that helps. Honestly, I mean, to be fair, you could run a PC building business. Technically, I can build them. I just, no, Chewy cannot hook us up. That is not the area of tech that he works in. And I'm assuming I'm coming through a bit better now, maybe? I don't know. If someone could confirm to me that I'm better or worse, that'd be cool. Yeah, no, it's 100% my GPU. I 100% need a new GPU. For real. Shh, Beppa. To be fair, I haven't even gotten anything out of Chewy yet. Maybe next year. Maybe next year. Alright, cool. Seems like we're back a bit better now. Okay, cool. Hopefully this won't change again. But you know what? At this fucking point, who knows? Okay, since I don't know how long this will last, I'm thinking I want to jump into this. Now, I don't think I'm going to be able to play the video part because, well, we see how things are going with videos at the moment. Not great. Oh, it started playing. Oops, I didn't realize it was going to autoplay. Sorry about that. So, excuse you. Excuse you. Please go up. There we go. I'll play it for a few seconds and we'll see if I can get it to play for us without it shitting the bed too much. Just let me know if it goes too crazy. I'll be looking at OBS as well.
Be our Dr. Joseph Mengle. Thousand implants by the end of 2026. Now, that's about 993 people over the course of, 15 months now, who would be willing to get an experimental brain surgery. That's like 60 some odd patients a month. And at the rate in which it took him to get 7 done feels nearly impossible, if you ask me. Now, there are a couple things that have been bothering me, especially about these Neuralink sites, because
image-wise, still bad. Well, tell me what bitrate to put it on, and I'll just do whatever you tell me to. Give me a number. Because I think I've got it down quite low just to see if it help. But I can put it back up if it's too low. I'll go to 1500. Is that too low? Too high? I don't know. You tell me. Ooh, Geeks on Wheels. That's another good idea. Hopefully you guys heard me just say it was 1500. That'll come through in. But hopefully, because otherwise, if it's going to be a bit of a pain in the ass, you know what, guys, I could just read. So oh look, we've got tech education in the chat. I love this. I love this. Also, no one told me what to put my bitrate up to or down to. Somebody. This is not the part that I do. So what she's saying in here is that, okay, so is that bad for you guys? Okay, cool. Good to know. How about we just say fuck the video and we'll just do some good old reading. So basically, what she was saying there in the beginning is that so yeah, news theories that she wished she didn't have to start. I've been watching Neuralink, Elon Musk's brain chip company. Not casually the way you might keep an eye on any tech company making headlines, but with the kind of attention you give something when the pieces don't quite fit together right. When the patterns start forming shapes you don't want to recognize. Not enough people are watching this company as closely as they should be. not enough people are asking why a brain chip startup needs to scale at impossible speeds, or why their trial sites keep appearing near detention facilities, or what exactly happens in the gaps where documentation mysteriously goes missing. Neuralink has some pretty dark corners, and she digs deeper the darker those corners get. So this is the first part in the Dre dossier on Substack, and called "Who the Fuck Is in My Head?" Because if what I'm seeing is real, the questions might become horrifyingly literal for people who never consented to ask. And so, in the beginning of that, 720, okay. Oh, that's FPS. 3,000. Okay. I don't know if I can go there either. I'm gonna try. But yeah, essentially what she's saying in the beginning of that video there is that if the things that she's observing and the weirdness that she's observing is correct, that she says that Elon Musk could be our Joseph Mengle from back in the Nazi days. I'll try to put it up, but I don't know if that's going to help. Let me just look at chat just in case you guys said anything. 420 streaming. Yeah. Right? Grassroots. It's so grassroots we can't afford to do any better. You know what? Fuck it. I don't care. I'm just going to leave it at whatever it was. It should be fine. Fingers crossed. I should be careful what I say. Otherwise, I might fuck around and find out. But yes, so apparently there's some weird sus shit going on with Neuralink. And so I've been going down the rabbit hole of listening to all of her videos. And she's got some really interesting things that she's pointed out. So yeah, the main thing is that she points out in July 2025, Elon Musk announced that Neuralink needs to scale from 7 brain implants to approximately 1,000 by the end of next year, which is 993 additional people over 15 months. That's about 60 patients per month that would be receiving experimental brain surgery. So that alone kind of goes, do you really think that that's going to help? Probably not. 30 FPS. Where am I? I don't know if I can change my FPS right now, but I'll have a look. Fuck, where did I find FPS again? I know it's in here somewhere. Y'all, there's too many fucking things to click on this bloody thing. Where did I find it? I found it before. I don't think I can change it. That's why. It won't let me change it. Not while I'm recording. Anyway, we'll just keep going. See how it goes. I'm on 50, I think. That's why I'm probably too high. And I don't think I could even pause it to redo that. So hopefully this will be okay and we'll be able to manage all right with that. But yes, so obviously that's a lot of people to try to somehow miraculously pull out of thin air when you've only got 7 people who've been willing so far. Given the pace at which they completed the first 7 implants, this timeline feels not just ambitious, but nearly impossible, unless, of course, you solve some very specific problems about recruitment. Problems that become considerably easier if you stop thinking about volunteers and start thinking about other arrangements. Neuralink has FDA approval for 2 sites in the United States. The first is at Barrow Neurological Institute in Phoenix, Arizona. The second is at University of Miami in Florida, which houses a major neurological research program. Both cities have something else in common: massive ICE detention facilities nearby. And assuming you guys can hear me, yes. Yes, that is a big fucking red flag. And there's a lot, Tanya, don't worry, there's a lot. She got in a big deep dive, so I'm hoping we'll be able to get through most of this. If I had have realized the video wasn't going to work, I would have tried to go through and summarize a lot of these with more notes, but I have not. And we'll see how it goes. But let's just say there's Elon Musk being inside the Doge department very much comes into play. Miami has the notorious Chrome Detention Facility and the primary intake center for detained immigrants in South Florida. From December 2024 to February 2025, there were 3 deaths at Chrome, 1 per month. All involved neurological symptoms. brain hemorrhages, seizures, vomiting. One of them was Maxim Cherniak. He was 44 years old, Ukrainian, and here legally on humanitarian parole after fleeing the war. According to his wife, he had no pre-existing health conditions, he wasn't on any medications, he had passed medical screenings before being paroled into the United States. 16 days after arriving at Chrome, he was dead from a massive brain hemorrhage. The CT scan showed catastrophic intracranial bleeding. 16 days from intake to brain death. A healthy man in his 40s, no explanation that anyone's offered publicly. The kind of thing that, under different circumstances, might warrant investigation. The kind of thing that makes you wonder what else isn't being investigated. Phoenix presents a different pattern. Near the Barrow Neurological Institute, you'll find major ICE facilities at Eloy and Florence. According to advocacy groups, the average time spent in solitary confinement at these Arizona facilities jumped from 14 days in 2024 to 38 days in 2025. That is a 271% increase. 38 days is a long time to be alone. Long enough that if something happened to you, if you woke up with gaps in your memory or unexplained symptoms, it would be difficult to establish when or how. Long enough that confusion would be dismissed as the natural result of isolation. Long enough to make a person wonder if their own memory is reliable. And this spike happens to coincide exactly when Neuralink's desperate push to scale up operations, which is probably nothing. Honolulu. These patterns had been bothering Dre for months, so tonight she decided to dig deeper. She went to usaspending.gov, a website that tracks federal contracts and makes them publicly searchable. She started by looking for anything connecting the Department of Defense with neurological surgery, and that's when she started to see something strange. Honolulu was appearing over and over again. And this is Honolulu 96813. Multiple DoD contracts for neurological services, neurological procedures, neurological surgery practice, all ramping up starting 2025, all going to a company called NIR LLC. All listing the work location as Tripler Army Medical Center, a major military hospital in Honolulu. At first, she thought maybe this was just a routine military medical care, but when she tried to look up NIR LLC, she found nothing. No company website, no physician names, nothing. For a medical contractor performing neurological surgeries with federal money, having zero online presence is unusual. Not impossible, just unusual in the way that makes you keep looking. Then at the very bottom of the Google search, she found a MapQuest link showing NIR LLC at 888 South King Street in Honolulu. When you search for NIR LLC on any other mapping service, nothing comes up. When you type that address directly, something very interesting appears. Straub Medical Center, one of Hawaii's largest civilian hospitals with a major neurology and neurosurgery department. So we have a shell company with a billing address at a commercial office building, apparently operating out of a civilian hospital with substantial neurosurgery capabilities, being paid by the Department of Defense for services at a military hospital, all on the same island. The paper trail isn't missing, it's just been folded into an interesting shape. She decided to search LinkedIn for anyone listing Neuralink as their current employer who also live in Honolulu. Hawaii isn't on Neuralink's official list of FDA-approved trial sites, but absence of evidence isn't always evidence of absence. And what do you know? She found two people. The first is a clinical project manager who works at Neuralink, lives in Honolulu. She's been with the company for several years. Her listed responsibilities include trial site management, implementation of clinical trials, management and oversight of external vendors, and negotiating relationships with organizations. She manages trial sites and external vendors, but Hawaii isn't an official Neuralink trial site, so perhaps she's just really committed to remote work? The second person runs something called Hang 10X Capital, a private equity firm based in Honolulu that invests in fintech and food startups. When I looked at their portfolio, Neuralink was listed as one of their investments. So, we have Neuralink personnel on the ground in Honolulu, federal neurological surgery contracts flowing through a shell company to a major civilian hospital, private equity money connecting back to Neuralink, no official trial site. Which I'm gonna check comments because I'm sure you guys are finding this very fucking. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I don't want you guys to be depressed. Why are we depressed? Oh, Baba, I only edited their gaming channel today because someone asked for it. So, but yes, it is real sus. And And you know what, Tanya? I don't know what caused us to be in the bad timeline, but whether it's the Hadron Collider or not, this is all like, and this is just part 1, guys. She's got like 8 parts, at least. So we're probably not even gonna get through all of it tonight. But to be honest, since we had a bit of issues, I might stay out. I might keep on until before BHN. If you guys want to go hang out with Bomber, I don't blame you, but we'll see. So obviously a lot of suspicious activity. If her thesis is that something deeply wrong is happening with Neuralink operations near ICE detention facilities, then Hawaii might fit that pattern too. She asked herself the question, and immediately regretted asking, is there an ICE detention facility near these medical facilities in Honolulu? In February 2025, ICE signed an agreement to start housing detainees at FDC Honolulu. That is a 992-bed facility. She had no idea this existed. Did anyone else know about this? Then she found an article from July 2025 explaining that detainees were being transferred to Hawaii from Florida and Arizona detention facilities, the exact 2 states where Neuralink trials had officially started. The distance between FDC Honolulu and Straub Medical Center, where the NIR LLC operates, a chilling 8 miles, only a 15-minute drive. And at this point, she's running out of ways to say, this seemed like an unusual coincidence. And again, we're only in part 1. So February 2025 is an important month in the timeline. That is when I signed the agreement to use FDC Honolulu for detainees. It's also when Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency was still operating inside the White House. During the same month, Doge fired 20 FDA employees. She looked up which departments they came from. The Office of Neurological and Physical Medicine Devices. The exact office that oversees Neuralink's clinical trials. Like, I'm going to sound like I'm putting my tinfoil conspiracy hypothesis hat on. That's fucked. You remove the people whose job is to ask uncomfortable questions at the exact moment you're establishing infrastructure that might generate uncomfortable questions. It's efficient, I'll give them that. When detainees are transferred to Hawaii, they apparently go through 5 to 7 different facilities first. One detainee was arrested in Florida in May, moved through 2 other facilities, then to Louisiana, then Arizona, then California, before landing in Hawaii. He wasn't even served with charging documents until June. That's a month, completely unaccounted for time. Once they arrive in Hawaii, they're 4,500 miles away from anyone who might advocate for them. If something happened to you during that month, if you tried to explain it later, you'd have to account for your location across multiple states and facilities. You'd have to remember dates and names. You'd have to overcome the assumption that detained people are unreliable narrators of their own experiences. And if you complain too loudly, there's always deportation, which has the convenient effect of removing both the witness and the evidence from the jurisdiction simultaneously. We've seen this playbook before. At Irwin County Detention Center in Georgia, women reported unauthorized gynecological procedures. Those who complained were deported within days. This pattern is well established. In April 2025, Acting ICE Director Todd Lyons gave a presentation at the Border Security Expo in Phoenix. He specifically stated that ICE had been working frequently with Elon Musk's Doge. It's not often that the coordination is this explicit. Usually you have to infer connections, but apparently we've reached the point where they just say it out loud. There's also a very old problem in medical research. You need test subjects, preferably lots of them, preferably ones who can't refuse or won't be believed if they complain, or can be disappeared if they become inconvenient. History is full of examples. We've done this before. The Tuskegee study, Guatemala's syphilis experiment, the history of gynecology itself, built on enslaved women who couldn't consent and were anesthetized. We know what it looks like when medical advancement decides certain populations are acceptable collateral. The infrastructure for that kind of exploitation does not announce itself with neon signs. It builds quietly, a detention facility here, a shell company there, a convenient absence of oversight, and at exactly the right moment. You remove the people who ask questions. You isolate the population you're interested in. You create great gaps in documentation where interesting things could happen without anyone noticing. And then you wait for someone to notice anyway, and you rely on the fact that it sounds too conspiratorial to be true. That surely in 2025, we wouldn't do something like that, that there must be some reasonable explanation. And if there is, I'd love to hear it. what she doesn't know with certainty is what's happening in these facilities. And how much further do we have in this one? Yes, okay, we're going to jump straight to this. Also, all of this is on Substack. Everything, all sources are cited. I highly recommend going and actually watching the videos as well, because oh, she's just awesome and is a very, very good kind of person to listen to. But we'll keep going on some of these. I just realized I closed the wrong tab. You know, I'll have a check, see what are we talking about. Yeah, so the Dre dossier, which is up here, the title, the Dre dossier. Yeah, Elon's entire business structure. This is pretty sus. I mean, I 100% agree. Yeah, and so Jeff, this is from Substack. This is an American woman who I found on TikTok. And this is the kind of stuff that I say, like, my TikTok algorithm is not everyone else's TikTok algorithm. And I feel very blessed because these types of things come across my TikTok algorithm. And I am very grateful because there's, I think, since she has started posting about these, there has been a few, I guess, a few news media places in America that have started to kind of pick up on this, but all of this has come from basically her own big deep dive. But again, everything is, oh shush, you're gonna break my stream if you talk. Now let's get into some of the next things. Where do we go? Yeah, that's so just something that she kind of puts as a background thing. Brain-computer interfaces aren't something that's like crazy. This technology has actually been around for decades. It's actually how we often people can control prosthetics. Yeah, so we had the first one, which was in 1998. And he received a bionic arm that he could control with his thoughts after losing both arms. This technology is genuinely incredible. It's why she spent the last year studying it so obsessively. The potential to give paralyzed people the ability to walk again, to let someone who's lost all mobility communicate with their family, to restore independence to people who've lost it through injury or disease, that's transformative. The technology itself isn't the problem. It's what certain people are doing with it that should concern us. And I 100% totally talk with that, because these things could actually really help people. But unfortunately, we don't tend to live in a world where people use technology to actually help and further mankind. They usually do it to further their own agendas. So yeah, the BCI industry was worth $10.7 billion in 2020, and it's projected to hit $26 billion by 2026. That kind of explosive growth doesn't happen from medical devices alone. United States and China are in an open competition over who controls the next frontier of human capability, and both countries have explicitly identified brain-computer interfaces as a national security priority. Which actually, funnily enough, when I was looking into stuff today, because I was trying to find some of the news articles that people that have started to be posted about this. I just saw, I think it was literally in the last couple of days, a second company who are basically a competitor to Elon Musk have been approved by the FDA to start their human trials. And yes, I 100% agree, Tanya. Like, if things were tested properly and the people who were being experimented on were actually treated like human beings worthy of care and consideration, absolutely. But the capitalist system is not designed to, it's designed to literally chew people out and spit them out. So yeah, China has its own brain project company operating under military civil fusion, a policy ensuring that any civilian technological breakthrough can be rapidly converted to military use. Congressional Research Service has officially designated brain-computer interfaces as dual-use technology requiring export controls. So yeah, she goes on to talk a bit about how they'll often, in Neuralink demonstrations, they will have presentations, and she says you need to pay attention to what they're actually showing you. It's never someone with ALS learning to brush their teeth independently. It's never someone navigating a job application or attending a virtual therapy session or doing any of their daily living activities that would demonstrate this technology helping disabled people live better lives. It's always someone playing Call of Duty, clicking targets as fast as possible, demonstrating reaction time, precision, speed, combat metrics. Every demo focuses on cursor speed, championships, click precision records, how fast someone can target and engage, the benchmarks they emphasize, the improvements they celebrate, the metrics that they track. It's all military coded. And yet we're supposed to believe that this is a purely medical device for helping people with disabilities. The disconnect between what they say it's for and what they keep demonstrating tells you everything you need to know about the actual priorities. Now, Neuralink isn't the only company working on brain-computer interfaces. BlackRock Neurotech has been implanting BCIs in humans for over 20 years. With extensive published research and peer-reviewed results, Paradromics has achieved higher bandwidth than Neuralink with over 1,600 electrode channels and transparent trial protocols. Synchron developed an approach that can be inserted through blood vessels rather than requiring open brain surgery, and they're backed by Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos, conducting FDA-approved trials in the US and Australia with regular published updates. These companies operate the way medical device companies are supposed to operate. Transparent clinical trials, peer-reviewed publications, data shared with the scientific community, regulatory compliance, independent oversight, but Neuralink operates differently. They didn't initially want to register their clinical trials on clinicaltrials.gov, the public database where all legitimate medical research is supposed to be documented. The trial is called PRIME, which stands for Precisely Robotically Implanted Brain-Computer Interface. The acronym barely works, but I digress. They only registered after significant public backlash, and even then, it was months into human trials. The whole point of clinicaltrials.gov is transparency. Anyone, including patients, researchers, journalists, and regulators, can look up trials and see what's happening, how many participants, and what protocols are, what adverse events have occurred, whether the study is following its own rules. Except Neuralink's Prime registry is almost never up to date. The information is sparse, vague, and often months behind on what's actually happening. Major announcements about patients don't come through proper scientific channels. They come via X posts. Yes, Elon Musk is literally tweeting about brain surgery results instead of publishing peer-reviewed data. He posts graphs with no numbers, just vague upward trending lines. He makes claims about capability and safety based on sample size so small they're statistically meaningless. Everything is obfuscated to a point where she genuinely does not understand how anyone invests in this company with any confidence. And it's probably just because people who have money are dumb and they hear big words. They go, yeah, give you money. You don't have to understand Neuralink engineering or read FDA filings to grasp this much. When the surgeon tasked with putting devices in people's brains decides he can't stay, that means something went very wrong. And when most of the founding scientists quietly follow him out the door, it's not a coincidence. They'd seen enough to make up their minds and make everyone else's heart drop once we found out why. So what is he building? Neuralink was founded in 2016 with 8 co-founders. Seemed to be a mix of tech entrepreneurs looking for the next big thing, paired with real scientists with serious credentials, neuroscientists who'd spent decades studying the brain, robotics experts who understood the engineering challenges, bioengineers who knew how to interface technology with living tissue. The founding team included Benjamin Rappaport, Dongjin Seo, Max Hodak, Paul Marola, Philip Saabs, Tim Gardner, Tim Hansen, Vanessa Tulsa. These were people who understood that putting hardware inside the human brain is one of the most delicate, dangerous, and high-stakes medical procedures possible. One mistake, and you're not dealing with a software bug you can patch with a couple of extra GPUs, like my computer. You're dealing with the permanent neurological damage, paralysis, cognitive impairment, and more than likely, death. For the first couple of years, everything seemed ambitious, albeit but legitimate, the kind of moonshot project you'd expect from someone with Musk's resources and ego. Difficult, maybe unrealistic on the timeline he was promising, but at least grounded in actual science, with actual scientists leading the way. And then people started leaving. In 2018, Benjamin Rappaport, head neurosurgeon, left Neuralink. The person whose literal job would be to open people's skulls and place hardware inside their brains without hurting them. The person with most direct, immediate responsibility for patient safety left citing safety concerns. Then, and this is the part that should make everyone pay attention, he immediately founded a competing company called Precision Neuroscience with the explicit stated goal of developing a safer approach to brain-computer interfaces than what Neuralink was planning. But that would sit with
In February,
the neurosurgeon who was in the room when decisions were being made, who knew the plan, who knew what the device looked like, who understood the testing protocols they intended to follow, he looked at what Neuralink was building and thought, I need my name as far away from this as possible. Seems to be more than just someone disagreeing with business strategy, wanting more equity, or having personality clash with Elon. That's the person with the most expertise and the most critical role, making a moral and professional judgment that Neuralink was planning to do was dangerous enough that he needed to actively work against it, whilst calling attention to the FDA. In 2018, when he left, Neuralink hadn't done any human trials yet. They were still in planning stages, still working on devices, still developing protocols, which means whatever he saw that made him leave in the design was in the design itself, in the approach that they were planning to take, and the safety margins that they were willing to accept. His departure was framed as a difference in vision, but what came next, the testing, the cover-ups, the casualties, would make his warning look almost merciful. Because the real story of Neuralink doesn't start when he left the building. It starts with what they did after he was gone. And then we're into part 3. I told you guys, this is so exciting, right? Oh, I did that thing again. It's called right-click and open a tab, you dingo. Let's have a look at what you guys are. Where are we at in the... Oh, no, please don't break my stream. Okay, that's funny. Buying Uber with your brain. And I mean, a Gundam would be pretty legit. And I mean, yeah, this is the trust their actions, not their words. Oh, give it a big old B. Don't worry, we had a lot of tech issues, so you probably came at a bit part of the show. So welcome, thank you for being here. And also thank you to everyone so far who are all still here. I really do appreciate you sticking around, especially with all my bloody tech issues. But yeah, so let's go into part 3 of what the fuck is Elon Musk trying to do, and we are definitely in the wrong timeline. There we go. Alright. So, so after Benjamin left in Neuralink in 2018, 2 years after co-founding the company with Musk and 6 other scientists, it went on to build precision neuroscience, launching it in 2021 with a specific mission to make safer ones than Neuralink. In 2024, an interview with the Wall Street Journal, Rappaport was careful but clear about why he left. I've pretty much devoted my entire professional life to bringing neural interfaces from the world of science to the world of medicine. But I felt that in order to move to the world of medicine and technology, safety is paramount. The contrast was evident in his next statement. For a medical device, safety often implies minimal invasiveness. The difference is simple, how they interact with the brain tissue. Neuralink uses penetrating microelectrodes, thin threads that pierce into the brain itself. Precision uses surface microelectrodes that sit on top of the brain without penetrating it. Rappaport was frank about the risks of Neuralink's approach. It causes some amount of brain damage during insertion. His company was founded on the belief that you could extract high-quality data from the brain without causing that damage. Which, yeah, I also believe, probably going to mention it further on, like, they actually have to leave a hole in your skull, so that kind of thing, put it, there's also been some really bad, because remember how they said, like, 1,500 electrodes? It's a lot of piercing of the brain. By August 2020, only 3 out of 8 of the founding scientists remained at Neuralink. The exodus included Matt Hodak, the company's president and co-founder, who departed in 2021, Paul Marola, Philip Stubbs, Tim Gardner, Tim Hansen, and Vanessa Tolosa had all left by then as well. Stat reported that Neuralink had seen years of internal conflict in which rushed timelines have clashed with the slow and incremental pace of science. I mean, when it comes to fucking inserting stuff into the brain, maybe let's just let it take a bit, you know what I mean? The scientists who stayed behind or joined later found themselves under what multiple former employees described as relentless pressure. Tim Hansen, a scientist at Genelia Research Campus who was part of Neuralink's founding team, told Fortune there was a mismatch between the pace at which basic science can develop and what Musk and Neuralink wanted done. Another employee was more direct. Everyone in that whole empire is just driven by fear. So in February 2022, when the animal rights group called the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medical Field filed a complaint with the US Department of Agriculture. The complaint was based over 700 pages of veterinary records and necropsy reports obtained through a public record request, basically an OIA, where Neuralink had conducted its animal testing from 2017 to 2020. So yeah, apparently CNN and Business Insider did like a lot of reporting. So if you want the full information, again, everything's cited in her documents. Documents revealed that out of 23 monkeys implanted with Neuralink's brain chips at UC Davis, at least 15 had died. The details were disturbing. One monkey developed a blood-skin infection at the implant site and had to be euthanized. Another was found with missing fingers and toes, possibly from self-mutilation or some other unspecified trauma, according to the records, and was put down. A third monkey began vomiting uncontrollably shortly after surgery, and days later appeared to collapse from exhaustion and fatigue. An autopsy revealed the animal had suffered a brain hemorrhage. Complaints accused UC Davis and Neuralink of 9 violations of the Animal Welfare Act. Many, if not all, of the monkeys experienced extreme suffering as a result of inadequate animal care and the highly invasive experimental head plants. The complainant stated the research advocacy coordinator for the Physicians Committee said the documents reveal that monkeys had their brains mutilated in shoddy experiments and were left to suffer and die. Neuralink acknowledged 8 deaths, but the PCRM's review of records documented at least 15. The company attributed the deaths to one surgical complication involving the use of FDA-approved product BioGlue, one device failure, and 4 suspected device-associated infections, a risk inherent with the percutaneous medical device. UC Davis stopped working with Neuralink in 2020, and the company opened its own in-house facility to continue testing. Again, another one who's like, nah, fuck Neuralink. 15 out of 23 subjects suggest something was being pushed too fast, that proper protocols might not be followed, and that the device itself might be fundamentally more dangerous than alternatives. So those questions reached the FDA in early 2022, when Neuralink applied for permissions to begin human trials. The agency said no. Reuters did a critical reporting on this rejection, speaking with 7 current and former Neuralink employees who described what happened. The FDA handed back a list of dozens of safety concerns that needed to be addressed. Major issues included devices' lithium battery, and I'm sure you've all heard of when phones and laptops start just exploding in people's pockets. Lithium batteries. So just, imagine that in someone's brain. Which could also potentially overheat. There were concerns about tiny wires migrating to other areas of the brain. That one fucking freaked me out when I heard that one. Causing inflammation or other damage. The FDA also wanted to know how the device could be safely removed without damaging brain tissue, a question Neuralink had acknowledged in its own presentations as a challenging problem that it hadn't solved yet. The rejection was significant. Kip Ludwig, the former program director for neural engineering at the U.S. National Institute of Health, told reporters that Musk's well-known impatience posed a challenge for the FDA approval process. Neuralink doesn't appear to have the mindset and experience that is needed to get this to market anytime soon. 14 months passed. Neuralink, according to employees, continued working on addressing the FDA's concern. They ran additional tests on pigs, trying to resolve some of the safety issues the agency had raised. And in May 2023, the FDA granted approval for human trials. Here's the thing, though. We have no idea what actually changed. And she means that literally. We don't know. Neuralink didn't publicly release updated animal testing data showing improved safety outcomes. The company didn't announce any major design changes to address the lithium battery concerns or the wire migration problems. There was no public explanation from the FDA about what specific concerns had been resolved or how they'd been addressed. The entire approval process happened behind closed doors with no transparency about what data convinced the FDA that the problems had been adequately handled. Which obviously this matters because we're talking about a device that gets surgically implanted in someone's brain. The FDA identified dozens of serious safety issues in early 2022. 14 months later, those issues were apparently resolved well enough to go forward. So once approved, Neuralink began recruiting for its prime study. First participant would be someone with quadriplegia, someone who had limited or no ability to use their hands due to a spinal cord injury. The goal was to help them control computers and smartphones using only their thoughts. On the 29th of January 29th, 2024, Elon Musk announced on X that Neuralink had successfully implanted its device in the first human patient. Don't we just love this peer-reviewed and official statement? So professional. First human brain implant for this company was announced on Twitter. Someone underwent experimental brain surgery, and we found out about it sandwiched between cryptocurrency scams and AI-generated slop. The patient was recovering well, Musk said. Initial results showed promising neuron spike detection. A few weeks later, on February 20, he posted again, the patient could control a computer mouse using their thoughts. So this cavalier, almost performative disregard for how medical trials are supposed to work would become the pattern for how we'd learn about anything Neuralink's human experiments were doing going forward. But the big reveal came on March 20th, 2024, when Neuralink introduced the world to Nolan Arbo through a live stream on X. Arbo was 29 years old, paralyzed from a diving accident 8 years earlier. In the video, he demonstrated the implant's capability by playing chess online and moving the cursor around the screen using only his mind. He was enthusiastic, grateful, clearly excited. The demonstration was impressive, media coverage was widespread, and it looked like a triumph. What they didn't mention during that March demonstration was that something had already gone wrong. Bloomberg broke this story in May 2024, reporting that in the weeks following Arba's January surgery, a number of threads had retracted from his brain tissue. The threads are the tiny electrode-laden wires that Neuralink's surgical robot inserts into the brain to detect neural signals. According to Bloomberg's reporting, approximately 85% of the threads had pulled away from the tissue they were supposed to be monitoring. And this is actually where it gets really fucking, fucked up, to be honest. And I know that probably sounds crazy considering what the fuck I'm talking about. This was a major hardware complication. The threads retracting meant the implant was receiving significantly fewer signals than intended, which would make it far less effective. Neuralink's solution, according to the company, was to modify the algorithm to make the device more sensitive to the remaining threads. In other words, they fixed a hardware problem with software. Let's be clear about what that means. 85% of the physical threads that were supposed to be in someone's brain had retracted, so they just turned up the sensitivity on the remaining ones. It's like if your fucking mouse is dying, you're just like, oh, no, come on, you can still do it, keep going. This is a very Musk approach to problem solving. It's the same logic that defined Tesla's self-driving development for years. Why invest in LiDAR systems, the hardware that most autonomous vehicle companies consider essential for detecting obstacles, when you could just make the AI better? Better hardware is expensive. More AI, though? That makes his company and his friends' companies a lot of money. Why address a fundamental engineering limitation where you could compensate with code and call it innovation? It's worked out great for Tesla if you ignore all the crashes. And now the same philosophy is being applied to devices implanted in people's brains. And honestly, so this is the, just for, I think that is the size of it. But they do have to cut probably like a 50 cent-ish size hole in your head. Maybe old 20 cent. What made this more troubling was the lack of disclosure. Nolan Arba had been posting on X since March 2024, sharing updates about his experience with the implant, but sometime after the Bloomberg report came out, many of those early posts disappeared. Social media posts were deleted. The public record of what had happened during those early weeks and months after his surgery was quietly edited. Neuralink has said that the modified surgical approach used for subsequent patients, placing the implant closer to the brain surface and reducing brain motion during surgery, has prevented thread retraction in later cases. They've reported no similar issue with the second patient or those who came after. But we only know that because they've chosen to share it. There's no independent verification, no FDA-mandated adverse event reporting that's made public, no outside researchers monitoring these trials. For a moment, it looked like accountability might be coming. The Securities and Exchange Commission reopened an investigation into Neuralink, focusing on safety claims related to the brain chip technology. The FDA sent a letter to Congress citing Neuralink California's animal testing facility for objectionable conditions or practices. The USDA Inspector General Phyllis Fong was actively investigating the company for alleged animal welfare violations. After years of complaints and 15 dead monkeys and all the reporting of rushed timelines and shoddy experiments, multiple federal agencies were finally scrutinizing Neuralink's practice. Maybe the system was working as it was supposed to. And then came January 20th, 2025. This close, guys. This close to having something. Donald Trump was inaugurated for his second term as president. Within his first week in office, Trump appointed Elon Musk to lead Doge, which we all know what Doge is. But the main part is that those companies who are regulated by multiple federal agencies, including the FDA, were now in a position to influence the very regulators tasked with overseeing his work. 7 days after the inauguration, Neuralink announced that the University of Miami's Miller School of Medicine had been selected as the second U.S. site for Prime. The Miami project to cure paralysis would begin implanting in patients in Florida. And then, systematically, those investigations that had just been opened begin to disappear. During Trump's first week in office, he fired 17 inspector generals across federal agencies, including Phyllis Fong, the USDA Inspector General, who had been leading the investigation into Neuralink's animal testing practices. She had to be removed from her office by security after refusing to comply with her termination, which she believed was illegal. She was right. Yeah, so on February 15th, the Trump administration started firing probationary employees across federal health agencies, with the FDA hit particularly hard. According to Reuters, the cuts included about 20 people in the FDA's Office of Neurological and Physical Medicine Devices, the division that oversees clinical trial applications for brain-computer interface devices. Several of the fired employees had specifically worked on Neuralink's applications. Firings continued through February, March, and into April, with some employees were fired, then hastily rehired when it became clear their roles were critical, then fired again. And on March 28th, the Department of Health and Human Services announced it would eliminate 10,000 jobs. The FDA alone would lose 3,500 positions. The NIH would keep 1,200. Obviously, the company under FDA review was being run by the same person who is now firing the FDA employees. Inspector General investigating the company's animal welfare. And by April, the first patient... Oh, wait. Yeah, here we go. The SEC investigation that had just been opened in December went quiet, and the FDA citation for objectionable conditions at the company's animal lab. No follow-up, no enforcement, no consequences. By April 2025, first patient had been implanted at the Miami site. He was a paralyzed U.S. military veteran. The procedure was reported as successful. By August and September, Neuralink had expanded to Canada, implanting 2 patients in Toronto. In October 2025, the company announced the first patient at the United Kingdom, a man named Paul. As of November 2025, the company has claimed to have implanted somewhere between 12 and 13 people, though exact numbers remain unclear. The expansion was rapid, and the oversight was gone. And so basically, you've had all of the scientists who left based on safety concerns. We've had failures, and then we're going to jump into part 4 for anyone who wants to continue. What are you guys up to? Oh, man. Maybe we should see if it'll work on Luxon. I don't know. And yes, Big LB, you were actually not here at the beginning, so just for a quick update, this whole series, which is done by the Dre Dossier, is looking into essentially why she thinks that Elon Musk might be the next Joseph Mengle, because, well, he might be a waste of oxygen, but unfortunately this man has money and power and is able to throw it around. From codeine to codeine. Fuck, man, you're on fire tonight, Jeff. I'm loving these. Yeah, and see, the thing is, there's even more continuing, because obviously they then expand into Honolulu, which is insane. Because how many parts are... Oh yeah, 6 in total. So we might be able to make it through at least most of them. Oh, let's not ruin the stream. Oh, and also, if you're wondering, Big Old B, my computer is not very good, so we can't do video very well. And if things get a little bit robotic and janky, don't worry, that's just a part of this poor machine trying to do its best. Alright, so how do we get back into this? Yeah, part 4, we'll just start here. Oh yeah, so this is part 4, and she's trying to do something the company apparently can't be bothered to do. Keep track of what's actually happening to the people who volunteered to have electrodes threaded into their brains. What I found is in a storybook, it's a mess of scattered information, missing patients, and a concerning pattern of opacity around the world, around the most vulnerable participants. When you can't check outcomes, you can't see patterns. When you can't see patterns, you can't protect the people who come next. So I built a registry because someone had to. And this is another reason I'm very grateful that I found this. Obviously talking about what transparency should look like. But I think we kind of have an idea of that. So we'll go into here. So most Neuralink patients have a pattern. They're on X with brand new accounts created right around surgery, often with usernames that reference the technology or the company. They post regular updates about using their implants, playing games, controlling cursors with their thoughts, drawing pictures, communicating with family. The updates are universally positive, grateful, enthusiastic about what the technology has enabled them to do. Patient 4 does not fit this pattern at all. According to publicly available information, Mike Malgarejo received his Neuralink implant around February 2025. He has advanced ALS. Unlike every other US patient, Mike has no public social media presence, no X account, no Instagram, nothing. Which would be fine if he was simply private, except Mike does appear in Neuralink's promotional materials. In the company's summer funding update video, There's footage of Mike talking enthusiastically about how the implant has enabled him to work full-time to support his family. Neuralink features him in their pitch to investors, but nowhere else can I find any trace of this experience, any updates, any engagements with the community. Every other patient has joined. The man exists in Neuralink's promotional ecosystem, but nowhere in the actual patient ecosystem, which that's odd enough. Then in June 2025, 4 months after his surgery, a GoFundMe appeared. The language stopped her cold. He's ready to give up on life, people. Not an understatement. Everything has been taken from him. He's not in a good place mentally, financially, physically, or emotionally. The campaign included screenshots showing Mike asking for rent money in what looked like Discord chats. I hate to ask this, but I'm stuck in an embarrassing tight spot. Can I borrow some cash? Rent's coming up and we're short. I'm so sorry for asking. It raised over $21,000 from multiple donors, including a contribution that made her stop. $3,000 from Siobhan Zillis, Neuralink's Director of Operations and Special Projects, and the mother of 3 of Elon Musk's children. Gotta remember, guys, he likes to really keep it in the business. One of the most senior executives at the company personally donated $3,000 to an emergency fundraiser for a trial participant who was in a crisis 4 months after getting experimental brain implant from the company. I mean, can understand generosity, but when you see a senior executive at the company running trials and a participant needs emergency rent money 4 months post-surgery, it's not a feel-good story about corporate compassion. It's a red flag about institutional support. Why is a multi-billion-dollar company led by the wealthiest man in the world responding to participant crisis with a personal donation from an executive rather than comprehensive trial support built into protocol? What exactly is the plan here when you scale up to the 1,000 patients Musk says he wants by the end of 2026? It was organized by Ryan Biggs, who describes himself as Mike's friend. But when she looked into him, things got weird. His LinkedIn shows he works in risk management for Marsh McLennan, which happens to be one of the world's largest insurance brokers, the kind that handles corporate liability for medical device manufacturers, the kind that would have a very professional interest in how experimental brain implant complications get framed and documented. The account has been dormant for 6 years with no posts, no updates, complete radio silence. Then, suddenly 4 months ago, 3 posts about Mike's GoFundMe appear in quick succession posted to his professional network. Each post got around 10 shares without any comments or likes, which is bizarre engagement for what's supposedly a personal crisis you're sharing with colleagues. Then there's this gem. The GoFundMe had less than $300 after a little over a week. Yesterday was absolutely insane and took us to over 19K. However, Neuralink saw the GoFundMe page and they're going to make Battlefield 4 compatible with Neuralink. Oh, an absolute miracle and storybook ending. Guys, that... Did they really say it's all good? It's all good. We'll let the bro pay Battlefield 4 and it'll be fine. He can't even pay his rent. You think he's gonna give a shit about playing fucking Battlefield? But yes, so he also actually misspelled Neuralink, which is kind of hilarious. So what this means, can't verify Mike was depressed, suicidal, or whether this crisis was caused by the implant or ALS. This is someone else speaking on his behalf. She reached out multiple times to silence. Here's what she can verify. In June 2025, Neuralink presented a video of Mike talking about how happy he was, how the implant enabled him to go to work and feed his children. The same month, someone created a GoFundMe saying Mike was ready to give up on life and in complete crisis. So which is it? Was the video old footage presented as current? Did something change rapidly? Is the crisis even accurate? We can't know because there's no systematic tracking, no independent verification, promotional footage and crisis fundraising existing in the same month with 0 explanations. Not to mention the fact that half of it gets just dropped on Twitter. This pattern should sound familiar. When Neuralink's animal testing killed at least 15 out of 23 monkeys, when veterinary records documented animals scratching at their heads until they drew blood, Musk said the monkeys had pre-existing conditions. It wasn't the chip, it was the animals. When companies control every piece of information without patient outcomes, when promotional footage and crisis fundraisers... ALS is devastating. on its own. Mike's crisis could be unrelated to the implant, but if this was a serious adverse event, it needed FDA reporting under 21 CFR 312.32. If a senior executive donated $3,000, that's exactly the conflict of interest FDA regulations prevent. In experimental brain surgery trials, this opacity is a patient safety crisis. Which is why she has built registries below. So all patient information, enrollment statistics, clinical trial sites, and technical specifications documented below reflect publicly available information as of November 7th, 2025. So, like 15 days ago. This registry will be updated regular as new information becomes available. So we can see here we've got the clinical trial sites, two in the US, Canada, and United Kingdom. And it's got how many patient total implants and dates. Then we've got the patient registry, which we can see has 13 people on it. A lot of things obfuscated as well. So seems also like a very high male population that they're performing these on. And then we've also got enrollment projections versus reality. Since obviously this is not being scaled very well. Let me check back in with you guys. How are we going? How are we going, Fano? Do we need a break from this? Because I can move into something else for a minute if we like. It is 8, but you know what? I don't. I'm not on a hard deadline. And I agree. I mean, the brain stuff should be left to the experts. And actually, you'll probably find when you go back and watch that a lot of the experts that helped found Neuralink all left the company by around 2020-ish. So yeah, there's a lot of... But that's the problem here, is that when it comes to the capitalist world we live in and all of the money that rich people can just throw at problems or throw to shut people up, they will. You know what? I reckon why don't we just take a little breather for a second. And I'll also see if you guys are keen to hang out. Do I even have anything positive? Man, I really couldn't find much positive this week, guys. Fuck, I don't know if I have anything positive. Guys, I fucked up. I didn't get any memes ready. To be fair, I probably should have got memes considering I was going into this conversation. Hopefully you guys won't mind too much. I should at least be able to bring us out of the depression by Friday. No more promises than that, though. Just see where you guys are at. Oh, hello. Sorry, guys. I don't know if you can hear that. My cat's just come in and yelling at me. I guess she's got a lot to say about the situation. Alright. Let me just... True, my cat's got a lot to say, guys. She's very unhappy about this current news around Elon Musk. I don't blame her. I don't like Elon Musk either. Wait, dude, get out of my food. You guys have the same kind of thing where your cats just never feel like they've been fed enough money? Fed enough? Oh no. Oh, Scruffador. I mean, I to be fair, I don't think that a lot of people would be good fucking things for this trial, but let alone anyone who's actually like got other issues going on. I get it. All right. Oh. Go well. Enjoy your food. I'm glad it didn't make you too depressed to eat. Alright, well, it seems like... Do people still want me to keep going into part 4? Otherwise, I'm more than happy to pick this up and finish these last 2 parts later in the week. Especially if we feel like we need more time to kind of mull on things, think on things, go, wait, hold on, what about, you know, like, we all have those. Otherwise... That could probably be us for the night, to be honest. Oh, Jeff, I get that. Honestly, sometimes it's hard to, I think being being kind and considerate and empathetic in this current world and climate is not an easy feat by any metric. So I can understand feeling pretty frustrated and very Oh, I always help. Thank you. That's so sweet. If only I could do that for myself sometimes. But hey, we all need those people that help get us out of our own head. So I'm glad if I can do that for anybody, because I get being stuck inside your own head. Oh, please, no. God damn it. This autoplay feature, I don't know how to turn it off on here. I have actually not used Substack very often on my PC, if I'm honest. I usually look at it on my phone. What do we got? I'll just see if anybody wants me to continue or not. But, oh man, I should have found some memes. Maybe I'll find some memes while I see what peeps want to do. Actually, I think I did post some memes. Where did I put them though? Good fucking question. What a weird problem to have when you can't always find your memes. I was gonna say, oh, we could watch that video. Nope, we can't. Though I will pop out.
What happens to
That is not the right one. Let's do that again.
a U.S. military?
Ah, apologies for not getting reference. Alright. I guess. Hold up. Alright. Okie dokie. Well, I guess we can have a quick look at this. I don't know if you guys heard. I did mention this briefly on Friday, but Disney Plus are now allowing people to create AI content. And so the creator of Our House just said, unsubscribe from Disney Plus, pirate Our House. I don't give a fuck. And you'll love to see it. Also, let me see. Oh, thank you, Jeff. Does seem like people are probably heading over towards Bomber and or getting ready for BHN at 9 though. So maybe I will leave it here and look out. I'll put out a post probably in the next couple of days. I am looking to do another one later on in the week. I also might have someone hanging out with me on the next one, which will be good. It'll be nice to have someone to help when I am going, fuck, what do I do? So I think I might as well find some outro music, and I reckon we'll go back and we'll look at more of this. Hopefully maybe even we'll be able to get some of the actual videos working for the next one, because it would be really cool if I could play you her saying a lot of this, because the way she's posited the Substack articles and the videos are slightly different, so it would be good to kind of get that in there. But otherwise, I just want to say thank you guys for putting up with my terrible fucking issues in terms of tech and sound. But I think, honestly, things went pretty smoothly, considering this was my first time doing it on a machine that honestly probably can't handle doing what it's doing. Yes. Oh yeah, we're gonna play my outro music, will I? You know what? Fuck it. Fuck the outro. I guess. Thank you for hanging out. Thanks for listening to me ramble on about Neuralink. I'm probably going to be rambling on about this for the foreseeable future. This is basically my new Atlas network. Although, what's a bet? So it'll be all connected. It'll be all fucking connected somewhere. So, I guess instead of playing an outro video, I'll just be like, Bye. Sorry this sucks. Love you guys. See you in the chat on PHN. Ngā mihi nui kia koe.